What's up guys, DukeSloth here, and due to some recent requests, I'm actually making a tier list. Little disclaimer at the start, a tier list is something to be taken with a grain of salt. Some things in here are probably heavily biased by my personal opinion, some things in here may be changing depending on certain new builds that get discovered, blah blah blah. So don't take anything here in absolutes, this is just my feel on where gods are currently placed in the meta. Also, this is not strictly competitive, simply because I don't play competitive. Obviously, I'm going to have the competitive games factoring in to some extent, but generally this is more from my personal experience, my ranked divisions, and so on and so on. With that said, let's get started and take a look at the gods. First we got Arachne. Arachne, very balanced character overall. What he struggles from at the moment is a lot of mages simply being better. There's just hardly any reason to pick him over some other mages. Probably making him B+ in my eyes. Could be A as well, really between those two. But like I said, you hardly see him picked because others are just better. AMC, same struggle as usual. Just doesn't have an escape. Is very potent in a 1v1 boxing scenario. Is very potent in 1v1 duels. But we're talking about conquest, so B it is. The B stays in B, even after patch 3.10, which will give him a little bit of a buff, but not enough to really change anything. Poash, situational counter pick to a strong healing comp. Not much more than that, because he also lacks the mobility. Can sustain a little better with his corpses, so I would give him B+ compared to AMC. Anhur, got an escape, so that's nice for him. That places him a fair bit higher already. What he struggles from is the fact that pretty much every hunter can clear really well right now, and Anhur's strength is early aggression. So when everyone can be aggressive early, those who are dedicated to be aggressive early obviously fall off a little bit. So A for me. Amaterasu, very balanced, very good place. Strong solo presence later stages of the game, but very, well, not lackluster early, but she has a rougher time than other solos. Strong team fight presence especially, allowing your team to escape a lot, so that's great for her. Solid A. Gubiz. Gubiz is Gubiz. Not much of a reason to pick him. He has a lot of damage, but he's so friggin' immobile. Sits there right with AMC in my opinion. I know that some people would place him higher, especially on very low divisions. He's very valued because he's so easy to play and deals so much damage, but realistically, Gubiz isn't that great. Ao Kuang. Slightly overrated in my opinion, because many people basically place him in SS. He can be shut down, he can be countered, but he's also extremely strong. I'm kind of between S and S+. I'll give him the S+ for now. But I don't think he's a mandatory first ban in all situations. For example, Arachne counters him surprisingly well. So if you get Arachne, he will struggle as long as Arachne can keep up the early aggression. Aphrodite, I would nearly put you in D tier, girl. She's got nothing going for her at the moment. Healers struggle in general, and Aphrodite struggles even more. She can't play her anywhere, there's no lane for her. There's not much she can do. Sorry, Aphro. Apollo. Apollo is, in my opinion, extremely strong at the moment, and slightly underrated. Apollo used to have a power curve that went from weaker sided to average early to strong mid game to average late game. At the moment, the only thing that really stays average is his late game. The fact that he has a mess with defenses in his kit, plus an escape with a knock-up, and I think something else as well, whatever, way too much. So, overall, especially in ranked, where you can split push as well, this puts Apollo in a really, really good spot. G-Bow helped him a lot, so he's one of the best clearing hunters at the moment with his passive Roid plus G-Bow. Way too crazy, way too crazy. Arachne, severely underrated in my opinion. Arachne, in my opinion, is a solid A. This only goes as long as you go throwing dagger start in the jungle, because that's the only way she can get it clear. But if you do that, she can aggress very well, and even from behind she can do things. She has been played in the SBL successfully, so yeah, actually a good god at the moment. Who would have thought? Ares. Ares is very situational. Ares can be great, but if he doesn't get ahead, if he gets pressured, he has little to no options to get out. So I would put him in B plus compared to other aggressive supports who just do better. Artemis is actually an A for me. I would put it between A and B plus. The point with Artemis is she has no mobility. No, we'll put it into B plus. She has no mobility either, so she obviously struggles with that. But what she can do is she can CC enemies for quite a while if they lock onto her. And if she has a team that helps her through the rough early, then she's a late game monster. Athena S. Still very good. Taunt is always good. The global ult is always good. Not much more to say about her. She's just always been strong. Yeah. Awilish. A. Awilish could have been A plus for a while, but she didn't really benefit too much from the speed buff compared to others, because now other junglers are fast as well, and her benefit that she had from Suku is not as great anymore, diminishing returns coming in and stuff like that. So really what Awilish does well is win games when she's ahead. If you get ahead early, she will steamroll, and it will take you a very long time to have a potential to shut her down. If she falls behind her early, she's pretty much useless. It's like, it's make it or break it. There is no middle ground with Awilish in most games, so that places her exactly in A. If she's ahead, she's S. If she's behind, she's B, or something like that. So yeah. Bacchus. Bacchus is really good at the moment, actually. Bacchus, especially in ranked, when you like need some aggressive support plays, he can do very, very well. He's very disruptive. The knock-up, the early aggression that many people underestimate. The ultimate that is obviously an insanely good zoning tool, or area denial tool even, can steal objectives with that. He has the extra defenses to tank up towers. So yeah, Bacchus is in a really good place. Only really hard counted by Awilish to an extent that you wouldn't want to pick him. Bakasura. Probably A plus as well. Still a good jungler, but people have learned to deal with his early aggression again. It's not that scary anymore, and others are just more scary at the moment. So yeah, A plus is probably where I place him. Maybe even A. Really depends. The removal of the boars took him out of solo again, which makes him more interesting god to play, in my opinion. But yeah, that's where he ends up. Bastet, B plus. Doesn't do as well as other junglers. It's not bad. Great split pusher. Even done that in the SPL as well. But in a team fight scenario, she's just a little lackluster compared to many others. Bellona. Still dominating the solo lane if she wants to. Disruptive. Generally strong. Good against hunters. A bit more situational than she used to be, but still a very good pick. Cabrakan actually, in my opinion, sees a little climb. The buffs that he got, which is streamlining his numbers a little more and giving him that extra defense on his passive, make him even better at early aggression. The problem with him is he is still hard countered by certain supports that can zone him out well. Like, for example, Sobek, who can just pluck him and keep him away from the ADC, and he needs to connect his abilities, so he kind of is forced to get Blink, which sets him behind a little bit compared to other supports, but he does well with the aggression. In my opinion, he does better than Ares, for example. Chuck. Boom chakalaka. Whoops. Chuck got stuck. No, not that bad, Chuck. But Chuck is probably B plus or B. Somewhere around here. I'll give him the mercy of B plus. He is not that great, though. Poor Chuck. I would love to play more, but he's underperforming a little bit in some regards. He just doesn't have the same potential as other warriors do. So, yeah, that's Chuck's problem. Changa, Could even place him to seal with Afro, actually. I've hardly seen any jungler play lately, so I might not give her the benefit of the doubt. Put her in B, but it's just not much she has to offer. It's too squishy. Why would you pick jungler when you can pick Guan? So, yeah. That's jungler. Charon. A. Still disgusting kit and way too easy to play. Damage way too easy to apply, in my opinion, but he's not the strongest out there. It could be A plus as well, but I think A is a solid judgment. Chronos. S. Chronos is strong. Chronos is friggin' strong. Chronos is he has the split push potential. He has the auto attack damage. His early phase is not too weak, and nothing has really changed for him. Bulwark doesn't destroy him or anything, so yeah. Cupid. If I put Artemis into B+, then Cupid is probably C. You saw this little buff. Haven't seen him too much since. But then again, he doesn't really match in with the C guts either. With the B guts either. He still has an escape after all. He's B, but a low B+. Not much to say, really. Not much has changed for him. Not his meta at the moment. Once again, early aggression with the hard bumps and stuff doesn't really matter with the G-bow. The clear kind of helps him, but yeah, others do better. Fenrir. A. Could be A+ as well. Strong. Because of beats. Purification, strong cooldown. But not game breaking. The recent buffs to him may actually put him more towards A+, but it's too early to say. He's definitely in a good place either way. Freya. Apparently her buff doesn't work as it was supposed to be. Hunters have golden bow, she doesn't. That makes her struggle a lot more than she should be struggling. Probably B+ as well. Geb. I would give him an A+. Or maybe A. I still think the shield is good. The shield does a lot for you, so A+. Good mobility. I know I could easily place him in A as well, but I think he's like, if I compare him to Cabrakan, he still offers a little more overall. But very predictable as well, so like I said, could really be both. Guan Yu. Also A+. Very potent late game with the heal. Good CC. Good protection shred. Rough early phase in the solo lane. But you can play him support as well, so that's great for him. Very good overall. Hades. You don't see much of him lately. He doesn't really have the camp contestations that some others have, I think. That makes him struggle in solo. Could still be played mid. We don't see him much there. Mainly because other mages are better once again. B+, but could be A as well. Somewhere between that. But I think same as level as Arachne is kind of fitting. Oh boy, got a little buff. Doesn't make him great. B+ is crowded, but even with the mana costs, he's not going to be all that scary. Hell, finally someone for lower tier again. B. Hell can still do well with the healing and late game potential she has, but she has to get through the early. If she's against a Chark, then happy days, but if she's against Bellona, for example, not so happy days. Hercules A. One of the most balanced warriors at this point. Has that long teamfight sustain going for himself, but others just do better. Solid A. Never a bad pick, never the greatest. Oh yeah. S if not S+. Kind of between those. I would say S. Putting him on the point with Apollo is actually pretty matching. Very good ADC, very, very potent at the moment. High ability damage, paired with a good late game through via his mark. So he is in a very strong spot at the moment. Hunbats. A+ because of the teamfight disruption when we compare him to Fenrir. Little less early aggression, but the ult is just great. in teamfight scenarios. However, in a non-coordinated setting, he can be not that great too, because people may not be following up on your ultimates. Isis, A+. Stronger than your average mage still, but at the moment others are better. But she's still good. Talking about others being better, we have Yanos. That guy can go fuck himself. And that's been the case for roughly a season now. Extremely strong due to his high mobility, especially in ranked when you don't have the coordinated counterplay to him. He gets out of so much. He still has ridiculous damage for a high utility mage, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. Jingwei, actually severely underrated. I would put her at least an A+. Her steroids are extremely strong, and we've seen SPL plays where players have combined all her steroids, knocking themselves up, dashing forward, and using the 2. And they just shred through everything, because the combination of steroids is what makes it so scary. The problem with Jingwei is most people are too scared to use it or don't know if their team will follow up. And if that's the case, then you can't do too much. But if you can, she's really, really good. And obviously coming back to lane right away is also always potent. Kali, S+. Nothing changed there. Really, really strong. Can't be shut down very well. Late game carry, obviously, but her early is not that bad, and she comes online fairly quick. Gold in Season 3 is not that hard to come by, and she's item dependent, so Kali S+. Capri, let's say somewhere between S and A. So I give him the S. Simply because Capri's ult is a game changer, and it will always be. He's a walking ult to some extent, but people underestimate the rest of his kit at the same time. He still has a lockdown that's pretty strong, it's pretty long. He still has that protection shred. He still has another route that, if you can use it well, is very good. It's not the game designer's fault that many people cannot land his 3 properly. His 3 has a little bit of intended delay, but if you learn to predict the 3, it's really fucking strong. And so that goes for his whole kit. So if you play him well, Capri is really freaking good. If you don't play him well, then he's not that good. Don't expect him to be as easy as he was when he was released, because at that point he was broken as hell. Kukulkan got a slight buff to Slipstream, reducing the cooldown while leveling it, but doesn't matter much because you're not going to level it earlier, because you still need the other abilities first. So, where does it put him? I would say somewhere with Agni and Hebois is actually a decent place. He has a bit of a better start in this meta currently, because the burst from a safe distance is favored, so he basically would be in front of Hebois, but realistically they're not too different. Kumba, A+. He has the advantage of being playable both in solo as well as support. One of the few Guardians that still does well in solo. And he does very well there. He's extremely disruptive. No matter where you play him, he's extremely disruptive, and that's annoying. We've even seen Kumba jungle now, that didn't go too well, but that is something to keep in mind, right? A character that has 3 hard CCs in his kit, of which one is fully AoE and one is able to hit multiple targets, plus a dash. It's really good. It's a really good combination. Low key is in B. Loki doesn't do much against warriors. He struggles against warriors, and that's the problem of solo lane for him. If the meta changes and squishies come back into solo, Loki does better. But after all, what he is at the moment is a split pusher, and that's what he is. Medusa, not doing too well at the moment, I think, compared to other hunters. Not too much of a reason to pick her. She gets shut down very hard by Odin, for example, or by Cab's wallets even now that we will see Cab a little more. And she had that early clear advantage, that ability clear, but what are you going to do if everyone clears as well as you without abilities with Jibo? The Snoopy build is very nice for her, but in the end, she's not in the greatest spot compared to other hunters. She's not bad, but she's not in the greatest spot. Mercury. Buffs helped them a lot. A+. Good position to be in. Strong, or decent early, very strong late game. Wind Demon is really nice for him. G-Bow, new G-Bow buffs, or G-Bow changes are actually great for him because they help us clear a lot. It doesn't crit anymore, but it helps us clear a lot and gives him more sustained damage. So, really good place. Really good place. Neath. I feel like she's undervalued by some others at the moment, so I will still give her A. I think she does better than the hunters in B right now, simply because she has a global ult. She has a leap as an escape, which is generally more helpful with the walls that are currently up on the map. And she is an early game. She is an early game hunter, and she suffers from the same troubles that Medusa has, for example. That G-Bow kind of makes other hunters match better with her, but you don't want to trade a Neath early regardless. She can heal herself up. She can out clear you anyways, and yeah, therefore still A. Don't build trends though. Just don't. Nemesis is really good at the moment. Nemesis is performing really well. I am gonna go as far as putting into A+. She is definitely above Awilish or Arachne in terms of what she can bring to the table. The question with Nemesis is always, can your team emphasize on what you're doing? If you ult a target and no one follows up, then, well, that was a great ult, but no one's gonna care. She still has that weak early clear, but her late game makes up for it, or her mid game even makes up for it. The ult being buffed makes her scary past level 5 already. So yeah, Naja, very strong in the right hands, but hard to play. Probably solid A. Pretty much where I put him. Not too different from Owlish in that regard. You can't really dive in when you're behind, but you have high damage. And you have a little more range poke, so that's nice. Nox. I think many people would put it into B. I will put it into A. I think Nox lockdown, especially on lower levels once again, is very potent silence combo. Huge area denial in combination with her ult. And her buffs generally made her quite strong. So, mother and daughter are climbing up from the lower tiers. Nuwa. Not in the greatest place at the moment. Once again, struggling with the fact that other hunters are better, and while she has kind of escapes, she doesn't really have real escapes outside of her ult, but that's a very predictable as well. So B+. She's still a little better than Anubis, for example, but just not the solid A that we want. Odin. A. Spectral armor is a downside for him, obviously. The cage not always doing what it's supposed to do. However, not everyone can build it. He has decent late game presence. I would like to see him change, so he's less about his cage and actually has some more late game utility in his kit outside of it, but as long as it's like that, it works for him. Cyrus, A. Can box the hell out of a lot of solo laners still. Probably won't change. Late game impact is relatively lackluster compared to other warriors, but still not completely bad. Poseidon, A. Recent buffs made him stronger, give him more damage, give him a burst, make him more scary. Can still be shut down very easily because of his lack of escapes, but then again, if he blows up his kit in your face, then he probably doesn't need the escape anymore. So, doing a little better now in my opinion, compared to before. Still not as great as other mages, but better. Same for Ra. Ra is actually in a decent spot right now. Can actually be played in solo as well. Has that heal going for his team. I think heals are pretty strong at the moment, just that the healers are not strong. But Ra's heal is still very good, especially because he doesn't have to stay in the middle of the fight in order to heal. He can heal from the back line. Just a great tool to pressure towers and stuff like that. Just a great tool for team fights to heal back up after and go for an objective. Very good in that regard. Rajon. Somewhere up here. Not there. I will give him the S because in 3.10 his leap will see a decent nerf on the base damage, meaning that overall he's not gonna be able to jump kill you that much anymore mid game. Still gonna be potent, but he loses the damage on later ranks. And while you don't see the leap leveled early, there's one point in the game where it would become a lot stronger just from the base damage alone, and now you at least need the scaling on that. But he's still very strong. His escape is ridiculously good. It's pretty much unstoppable now. It went from one of the worst escapes because it was so clunky and so easy to CC out of, to one of the best escapes because you can blow your CC on him now while he's already escaping, and your CC is gone and he's still escaped. Ram. A. Good at clearing, good at boxing. Debo helps him. Not as much as others, but it helps him. He's good. Ratatoskr. Now, with Ratatoskr, I'd probably go with S+ still. Nerfs, change him a little bit, right? You got that, let me check the numbers here. You got that slight base damage nerf on Dart. You've got the slight cooldown increase and protection shred reduction, which is actually what it is. On his 2, we saw the CD raise on his stun, but still really, really strong. He will still walk over you. He still has the same damaging potential, the same escape potential, the same heal potential, the same everything. So I don't think he's gonna drop off all too soon. Raven. Probably an A. Similar to Osiris. Good boxing, a good early presence. Not the greatest team fight, but he has something for the team fight, so A. Scylla. Go up. This girl has seen some buffs that she didn't really need, and she really benefits from the new Soulstone, and with the Soulstone and Pot Start, you have so much early damage, it's ridiculous. There is no early game weakness that she used to have, because she can just freaking break everything at the moment. So if a full-on late game character like Scylla can have a great early game, then she is top tier, because she has no bad phase in the game, which really sucks. Serket, A+, can be very good, can blow up people. The buffs made her stronger than she had to be. She was A before, I think, but didn't make her crazy. Not as crazy as I thought it would. So, A+. Scotty. Scotty does a little better than other hunters with no escapes, namely Artemis, because she has that doggy. Some people call this God Calder, not Scotty. That's because she can split push extremely well. She can solo lane decently. She can ADC. She can zone you off pretty hard when you try to commit onto her. She has the 3, which is a great CC tool, and if the 3 hits you in the wrong place and you bounce multiple times, then you're dead before you can do anything, which is really annoying. I think they should limit the bounce to once. But, you know. Sobek. Not seen too much play at the moment. Not that strong compared to many others. Like, looking at Bacchus, I rather want a Bacchus than a Sobek. Still not bad. I would be between B+ and A. Really exactly between those two. I cannot place him. I'll just drop it here and see where it ends up. A. Okay. Okay, I'm fine with that. Could have been B+ as well. Sol. Good. Better than many others. Has the great benefit for her team that she can be played both as an ADC or a mid-mage, or even a solo in rare situations. She has a very good escape because it makes her immune to everything. I don't understand why that's a thing, but hey, we needed more complete immunities. And good damage. different ways of building her that kind of work in their own ways. So, in a very good spot overall. Sun Wukong. Hey. Like I said, in the Whatever Happens to Sun Wukong video, he's actually pretty balanced. It's more that other warriors are just better. But he's not doing badly. He has a very great showing in the SPL at the moment. He is one of the he is the best performing warrior in the SPL. Notably played in support as well, and played with comps that work around him. You kind of need that, but he's doing decently. Susanoo. Whoops. Susanoo got stuck. No. Susanoo is going up here. Susanoo is going into S. He's not going into S+, for a particular reason. If you look at, for example, Ratatoskr has a performance that lasts the whole game. Ratatoskr's damage late game doesn't fall off. He can shred your protections, and he still does the same thing he does in the early game. Kali has the greatest showing late game, and games are going into late game at the moment. Scylla is going into late game. Ao Kuang is going into late game. All these characters have a lot for late game. Susanoo is best in the early game. Everyone is kind of good at the early game at the moment. Even hunters are good in the early game. So he's better than the rest in the early game, but he's not the greatest in the early game. He has high damage, and with the nerfs, that's going to change a little bit. Like, you can't do Bluestone Susanoo mid anymore because it's only going to proc once. So you can still do it, obviously, but it's not going to be as great. The multiple item procs are gone on the one, and that takes a bit away from him. He has really good AoE damage for an assassin, which is nice, but he's not crazy. He's not crazy because late game he just falls off, and he will fall off. I have not seen a single build that doesn't make him fall off. You cannot build him full pen because then he's too squishy. You cannot build him half bruiser defense because then he doesn't have enough damage late game. You cannot build him AA focus because his kit has nothing that would support that. Maybe his 2 a little bit, but you really don't want to build an auto attack Susanoo. You're not going to get kins on the guy compared to like hybrid assassins Willish or something. So yeah, it's where he is. And it's ironic, like I can speak for my own games here, where I have positive stats in every single game as Susanoo, but I've lost, I think, more than half of them. Simply because if you get the kills as Susanoo, it also means your team doesn't get the kills. And if you get all the kills, and late game your team doesn't have kills, then you have a problem because you're not going to have as much of an impact late game, while your team will have less of an impact than they would have because you have all the kills, which are easy to get for you early. And you take them, you know. You can't just always stop killing people because then they might get away, but that leaves him in S, and not S+, and not SS, as some people say, but not in A either because his early game show is just too strong. Sylvanas. Sad man. Sylvanas is suffering. Could even put him into B. Not doing too well. Struggling with the fact that he doesn't have an escape, and most other supports do have some kind of escape. Just too easy to shut down. Don't know what he needs to come back. He can work in very specific matchups, but it's just not up there. Thanatos. The only jungler, in my opinion, that is currently legit not performing that well. Pop Stomp God, very, very good in low divisions where people don't expect his early damage and just get shut down, but past that stage, doesn't have too much to offer, sadly. Just, he doesn't benefit from the new items as much as others do. For example, Stone Cutting Sword doesn't really have what you need to transition into great late game, and once again, the games are going to late game at the moment. Thor. S. What can you say? Thor, and apparently he will never get nerfed. He's got a strong early game in terms of damage, and a strong late game in terms of crowd control, so he doesn't have a weak point in the game. And as long as that stays like that, he's always going to be great. Yeah. This is going to be probably the most controversial, unexpected one, along with Apollo. Tyr. I will put Tyr into S. I've hardly seen Tyr underperform. He has one of the best win stats in Conquest. Yes, might go risk a glitch, but you can still see the placement. And I'm not surprised that he does. Tyr has high sustain defense with his defensive stance and the heal. He has 3 escapes, of which 2 are dashes and 1 is a leap with CC immunity, so he cannot get stopped by walls, he cannot get stopped by a Willish pulse, he cannot get stopped by anything really. You need your whole team to collapse on him most of the time to kill him. Even when a Tyr falls behind, which rarely happens because he's usually played in solo, he still has an impact because he can still push people around and probably not die. So that's Tyr. Tyr is really freaking annoying to deal with, especially in ranked, and I think that he is in dire need of nerfs because he's doing way too well. He got way too many buffs over time because he was underperforming, and now he's performing very well because the meta favors him, and we see him up there. Ullr, on the other hand, is in a very good place. The early aggression is not that great. Obviously, he doesn't benefit from Jibo as much as others, but he's kind of forced into it because Trance is just not as good as Jibo in most situations at the moment. So that puts him in a bit of a problematic spot. He still is a good hunter overall. Just high skill cap. A good Ullr will be good, a bad Ullr will be bad. Simple as that. Lamanna, still doing very well. Still doing a little better than others, in my opinion. I know that some people have placed him into A. I would still give him the A+ because I think his late game potential is amazing. Even the nerfs didn't change that in a massive swing or something. Vulcan A. His old buff was really nice. Put him in a very good spot. Gives him that extra damage that he needs in fights, in 1v1 fights especially, and it's a very good spot. So, yeah. Xbalanque. Xbalanque, late game hunter, which is good at the moment, and as much as I hate the character, he is performing very well. Snoopy build really helps him. Kind of torn between A+ and A here, but I'll give him A because I think some gods in A+ just come online earlier, even as late game gods, and he still needs a decent amount of farm, and he wants those kills, and without those kills, he's struggling a lot more. Xingqian. Hey, Xingqian is not that great as a support in my opinion, because he forces you to have another solo laner that has supportive capabilities, has extra CC and all that, and otherwise he doesn't do too much. But he's very good in solo. He doesn't bully anyone out in solo, but he just hangs around there and doesn't die, as he used to in Season 2. And eventually comes out of it. And while his ult is not that great, you can still force at least a sprint or beat with that very often. Get Winged Blade or something with movement speed, so you can not have enemies walk out of your ult anymore. Get that extra movement speed so they can't do that. And you should be good to go. He's not bad. He's definitely not bad. And yeah, I think he's underrated. And the great thing about Xingqian is he opens options for warrior supports a lot. And that is just a really great thing to have, because then you can put Guan into support, you can put Amaterasu into support, and gets like some unconventional matchups going, which is really nice. Ymir is an A. Same here. Better in support, obviously. He can also jungle. Not that great in jungle, but he can. Yeah. Ymir is strong, but he's not broken. Zeus. Hey. Zeus gets shut down like many other mages. He just does better when he doesn't get shut down. He is very high damage. Very scary early, especially with a pot. And that leaves him an A. Last but not least, Zhonghui. Zhonghui is one of those where I'm not sure where I place him either. Somewhere between A and B+. But once again, I'll just drop him here and see where it ends up. Hey, right in between. Cool. That's where I want him. That's where I want him. I didn't know that was possible, but this is where Zhonghui is. I like to finish it like this, because I really can't decide. I think Zhonghui can be really good. I just feel like he can be severely underrated in many situations, and therefore doesn't see much play, but still good. What I really like about the fact how this is set up is that we have a huge amount of gods in A to B plus at the moment. A huge amount of gods that, in my opinion, are decently balanced. We have a few outliers, and some of these outliers have been up there forever, and they should just fucking get nerfed. Like Athena, Janus, Thor can just all go down. Tyr, Apollo both didn't need their buffs. And then we have some that just, Ao Kuang and Kali obviously should have gone down long ago. Rage and Scylla would be very easy to nerf. It would be very obvious choices, and that would happen. Red is a new release, so he's getting the benefit of the doubt. And regarding Fafnir, at the moment, I think he's pretty balanced. I would probably place him in A with Xingtian. That kind of matches Kubraken. Right, that's it for this tier list. As I said, take this with a grain of salt. It's just my tier list. It's just mostly for mid-tier. It's patch 3.10 though. It's for the newest patch. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was interesting for you. Thank you guys for watching. DukeSloth out.